Making art. Shouldn't everyone make art? How would I define art? I think art is just kind of like, it's really hard to define art. Art is just a form of expression, and it can be sensed by one of our senses, whether it's sight, whether it's touch, whether it's hearing and listening, whether it's any sense it could be. But art is beautiful, because if something is not beautiful, then I wouldn't really call it art. It's just an object or something of use, not really art. Art just, yeah, it's an expression. It forms who you are, and I think everyone should be making art. I don't think there's any excuse a person has for not making art. And anyone can become really, really good at art if they just spend time. You know, because with art, it's beautiful, bro. I don't know what to say about art. I'm a rapper, and I think it's been really beautiful. People who draw beautiful art, people who dance, people who show their art in, something physical. People who show their art in maybe like acting. Because art. But here's the thing with art. Since art represents who we are, when we make bad art, we think we're bad people. We think that we're not interesting enough if we're making bad art. We think that we're like failures if we're failing to make art, because art represents us, right? It's very discouraging when you first start out. I want to talk about progression now, because this is really important in all things in life when you're learning about stuff and you're trying to achieve a goal. When you're trying to achieve a goal, it really goes step by step. You don't really start off with the idea that you're gonna do this masterful thing. For example, when I started rapping, I never thought to myself, oh, I'm gonna make 5 albums. No. All I did in the beginning was copy verses from the music I listened to, and I just performed them on different beats or a cappella. So you just need it becomes very put into stages when you're making art. So there's the absorbing part where you just like copying other people, basically. I think it's much value in the beginning to actually just copy people. Because when you just copy people, you're seeing their style, you're seeing how they're putting everything together. So absorbing and copying. The second stage is let's think. I copied for a long time, and then I started to create my own verses. So I think a daily practice of writing rhymes, or a daily practice of doing a small piece of your art, is really important. Not in a large scale. For example, Tupac, he had a little notebook where he would just write a bunch of rhymes in it. I think that's really valuable. So it's creating small art of your own. There you go. Next, I think it is trying to define who you are, and this is kind of separate from the art itself, because this is like life in general, trying to discover who you are, right? So that comes mostly from like self-improvement. So I'll put step 3 is improve, define self. I just farted. Farts are weird. Let's think. I think it's really good to collaborate with other people and, share your ideas in art, and make a collective project together. So I think collective creation, because when you're collectively doing an activity with other people, you're forced to show how good you are at the art at itself, and it forces you to grow. So like competition, right? That's and the last step is to create your own ideas. Right? So you need to copy other people, create a small art of your own, define who you are, make collective art with other people, and then start to branch off and do your own ideas. And this is how a lot of artists are in history. And especially in the music industry, we have all these artists who start off in musical groups and then they branch off. And that's how you start making art with people just around you in your community. So you could just have something to a hobby to do with other people. So those are the 5 steps. I think the last step is to influence other people with the creation. Just get better. So influence and be ambitious. I think anyone can succeed in art. Anyone can succeed in being influential, actually. Because all the weaknesses that we have we can make it our strengths, whether you recognize it or not. This is what a lot of artists use. For example, like Kanye, he was like strictly a producer, and he made himself a rapper. So if it's really important to be original with your art, even though no one's art is truly original. Just try to be original and new and refreshing as possible in whatever. You don't have to be original all the time, but when you're doing like an ambitious project, I think it's really important to do your own thing, because there's in art there's a lot of people who just make art that's mediocre, that's like it's really good, but this other artist is way bigger than you, is already made better art than you, so why even look at your art if it's just a mediocre version of this other person? So I think it's really important to create your own style of art. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but just find who you are. Find who you are and be relatable. Just do something new. And that's what's gonna make people like you. Not because a lot of people, they just follow trends. They just follow what's hip, and then they hop away. They hip hop away, and they're gone. And like a year or two, they do their little dance and then they dip. They're gone and never heard of. If you want to be a lasting artist with a lasting impact, you have to continuously change your style. And that's just how life is. If you want to continue progressing in life, you have to continuously change the way you live your life. Because at a point it becomes stale and you fall into the same routine and hit a plateau in your growth. That's like the idea of progressive overload in fitness. You continuously add weight or reps. But something with fitness, I think, is that with fitness, you could actually hit a plateau even if you're progressing overloading, because your strength is improving, but the rate of your improving starts to slow down. So I think it's really important to switch up your workout routine and try something completely different. Like if you're doing strictly weightlifting, then you should try to focus on being able to do a bunch of push-ups, pull-ups, and squats, like more endurance training. And if you're doing lots of endurance training, why don't you switch up and do a bunch of strength-based training? Because changing your style is how you continue to be interesting, because, you know, that's all we all want to be. We all just want to be interesting.